Authorities in Northern California last week announced the arrest of a woman who they say ignited a wind-whipped wildfire that quickly tore through steep, rugged terrain, destroying 144 buildings, prompting the evacuation of thousands of people and becoming one of the state's more destructive blazes this year. The woman, Alexandra Suverneva, 30, a one-time yoga teacher from the San Francisco Bay Area whom a former colleague recalled as brilliant, is among more than 100 people who have been accused of wildland arson and arrested this year by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, or CAL FIRE. The charge alleges a rare but significant act that has come into sharper focus as parched, overgrown forests explode across thousands of acres in days. It is difficult to grasp when disaster like this is, apparently, not a natural disaster, but we have a suspect, and this might be an arson case, Shasta County Sheriff Michael Johnson said during a community meeting Saturday. Suverneva has pleaded not guilty. Flames consume a house near Old Oregon Trail as the Fawn Fire burns about 10 miles north of Redding, Calif, on Thursday, Ethan Swope, AP. Wildfires are usually accidental, ignited by damaged power lines, vehicles and logging equipment, said Ed Nordskog, a retired arson investigator with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and a co-author of Arson Investigation in the Wildlands. While most wildfire agencies attribute about 10% of blazes to arson, Nordskog said the real number could be twice as high, a result of decades of officials prioritizing suppression over investigations. If you don't send an investigator, you don't have arson, he said. The intentional setting of a wildland fire can have swift, profound consequences. As Nordskog put it, they literally have the power of atomic bomb at their fingertips. They can burn an entire town down if the conditions are right. In 2006, for instance, a wind-driven blaze burned across 40,000 acres in Southern California, destroying dozens of homes and killing 5 firefighters. Raymond Euler, a mechanic from Riverside County, was convicted of arson and murder and sentenced to death. In 2008, a former volunteer firefighter from Northern California, Robert Eason, was convicted of setting a dozen fires north of Sacramento, including one that burned 1,000 acres and killed 200 sheep. Investigators said Eason used a sophisticated time delay device to ignite the fires. Unlike urban arsonists, whose ages, genders and races vary, wildland arsonists tend to be middle-aged men, said Nordskog, who also wrote the arsonist profiles, analyzing arson motives and behavior. Although lighters and matches are the preferred methods of ignition, some people, like Eason, use time delay devices, such as matches wrapped around a cigarette, he said. When they burst into flames, they're 7 to 15 miles away, Nordskog said. Although some arsonists act for thrills, Nordskog said, anger, frustration and mental illness are more common motives. Just as common as how daunting the investigations can be, they are often in remote areas with ignition points that could be devastated as firefighters work to extinguish the blazes, he said. Fire officials said Suverneva was arrested Wednesday night after she emerged from the brush near a fire line northeast of Redding in Shasta County. She had a working lighter in her pocket, Shasta County District Attorney Stephanie Bridget said Friday, and told firefighters that she was dehydrated and needed medical treatment. According to a CAL FIRE report obtained by the Record Searchlight, a local newspaper, Suverneva said she was hiking to Canada and tried boiling water, thatch found in a puddle. Her attempts failed, the report said, but she drank the water anyway. She believed it was mixed with bear urine, then walked uphill and saw smoke and airplanes dropping pink stuff. Suverneva was taken into custody on suspicion of arson. Because of a declared state of emergency, Suverneva faces an enhanced sentence of 9 years if she is convicted, Bridget said. She said authorities are aware of other fires locally and around the state that Suverneva may be linked to. Bridget declined to provide additional details. Bridget, who also declined to discuss a possible motive, said there was no indication that Suverneva was under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Nor did she appear mentally ill, Bridget said, although witnesses who saw her earlier said she was acting irrationally, CAL FIRE said in a statement. Suverneva pleaded not guilty to felony arson. Her attorney, Shana Vejvari, said that Suverneva was asserting her innocence and that no evidence has been presented to the contrary. We request that the public not prejudge this case, she said. Relatives in the Bay Area did not respond to requests for comment. A former colleague and instructor who taught Suverneva at Avalon Yoga International in Palo Alto recalled her as a brilliant student who attended the California Institute of Technology and worked for pharmaceutical companies before she burned out on big money-grubbing corporations. I thought she was an idealistic kid, said Steve Farmer, the chief executive of Avalon. She was into conservation and forests. Farmer said he hadn't seen her since the coronavirus pandemic started, when Avalon shuttered, although he planned to rehire her after it reopened. She would have been the last person I would have thought to get involved in something like this, he said. As of Monday, the fire in Shasta County had destroyed dozens of homes and grown to nearly 9,000 acres, according to CAL FIRE. Firefighters had surrounded half of the blaze with containment lines.